has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
So, Carver High, what is Peterson saying about his disastrous football team?
Yeah, awful start for the Jaguars. You know, they ended last year losing their last 5 games, missing out on the playoffs. This was after a year they were supposed to be one of the favorites, right? Remember 2 years ago, they won a playoff game, lost a close game to Kansas City in the divisional round. Now they look like this guy's about to get chopped. Here's Peterson. Things need to change fast in Jacksonville.
It's not for lack of effort or trying and all of that. I just think that sometimes you just have to get out of your own way, right? And we just keep digging ourselves in a hole early and can't seem to dig our way out of it, especially, as one-sided as this game was today.
Do you think he's in trouble in Jacksonville, or is he going to get away with this?
Well, the thing is that owner, he wants he wants to win badly. He's got a very itchy finger, but he also knows he can't keep changing coaches. Remember, it was such a disaster he had with Urban Meyer that having Peterson, who's won a Super Bowl in his building, is probably not someone that he wants to chase out fairly quickly. Now, I understand last year ended poorly and this year has started poorly. If it continues, sure. Because he spent a lot of money, right, Scotty? This is not they added some high-priced free agent talent on both sides of the ball. They've done that the last few years. They gave their quarterback a lot of money that he probably hadn't earned yet.
And he stinks.
And he stinks, too. I'm sorry. And we were all duped, right? We thought this was no doubt about it. When he left Clemson, he was going to be the next big star in the NFL. Can't miss, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, that type of can't miss player. It's just not the case. He's 0-8 in his last 8 starts. 1-7 against the spread, too, so you can't even bet on the guy. But he's lost 8 starts in a row. We talked about in the offseason when they gave him all that money that they probably, I don't know why they were in such a rush to pay him so fast. But I just haven't seen it yet, Sky. I haven't seen the greatness of this guy. Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, his numbers stink. He's 21 of 38, 178 yards, a horrible average, 4.7. He gets picked off. He gets sacked. His passes are bad. It's unbelievable. He's turned into a lousy quarterback. That's just all there is to it.
The pick he threw to Hamlin last night, and that was DeMar Hamlin's first ever career interception. That happened in that game, too. There was nobody near him, Scotty. I mean, Lawrence, it's not like he was being pressured and he was in a rush to throw the ball away. He was standing in a clean pocket and just sailed the ball over the receiver's head to Hamlin. It was an awful throw. And they got a lot of work to do down there, that's for sure, especially with him.
Imagine the money they spent on him. They gave him all this money, and he's not worth it. He plays like a backup. He's not a star player. It was a kind of flash in the pan. He was good for a brief minute or two, and then he's been terrible ever since. I mean, he is awful right now. He can't win. He can't get out of his own way. Like Peterson said, I think a lot of it starts with him. I mean, he's so undependable now as their quarterback. You have to start wondering what they're going to do. Are they going to keep rolling him out there to lose?
5 years, $275 million. I wanted to make sure I had
my God.
The deal that they gave him in the offseason. They go to Houston next week too, Scotty. So division game on the road with Houston coming off getting beat up by the Vikings in Minnesota. That's not a good scene for them coming up. Not a good scene that they're going to have.
Doom. They're going to go lose to them. Another loss.
Doom. Indeed it does. So God bless and good luck to the Jaguars. All right, let's start to turn the page towards this week. It moves fast. We're on to week 4 in the NFL. Let's go, and it will start on Thursday night. Back at MetLife. We were at MetLife last Thursday night to start week 3 for the Jets and the Patriots. Well, MetLife will again have a Thursday night game, this time with the Giants and the Cowboys getting together. And the Giants are coming off their first win of the season in Cleveland. Dallas losing 2 in a row at home, not looking good in either. I told you yesterday, Dable was talking up Daniel Jones. There's only one reason Daniel Jones has been better this year and has started throwing touchdown passes. It's because of Malik Neighbors. And here's Dable talking up Neighbors instead of Jones.
I have a lot of confidence in him, so I think we target him a fair amount. But I think he's earned that. He's earned the right to have those opportunities. And look, one game it might, I don't know what he's had, 30 the past 2 weeks, I think, but
30 targets.
There'll be adjustments throughout a game where things are happening, and everybody's going to have to be dialed in. But his mindset, he's a competitive young man that he's just a football player.
Just give him the ball. He's their only player. He's the stud of the team. Throw him the ball. Good things happen. He catches tutties. And he's making Jones look good again. And he's shown those flashes that he can do it if he has the right talent around him. This guy can make plays. And they've looked a lot better. Even when they lost, they had 3 tutties. Then they win with 3 tutties. You start scoring touchdowns, you win games, and he's the reason they're winning. They finally got one at least. And, you get that off your back, and anything's possible. This game is huge because I think most people think that the Cowboys are better than they are, but I'm not so sure. The Cowboys seem overrated. I mean, they keep losing too. So it's not like, you saw what happened to them. They got blown out in one game at home. And they haven't done that in, ages in regular season games. Playoff games, they got blown out. But you're seeing, teams like this Dallas team overrated. And I think the Giants are kind of on par with them, to be honest. I think they're in the same boat. Both of them are the same.
Both of them are the same so far. Now, look, last year, the Cowboys kind of, they played bully with the Giants last year. They beat them, of course, 40-0. In the opening week game. They beat them 49-17 the second time that they played them last year. So they scored 89 points on them in 2 games. Giants obviously have to find a way to stop the Cowboy offense, which they have not been able to do the last couple of years. I did hear Jerry this morning. You know how Jerry's, because he never can stay away from anyone. He does that local radio spot on Tuesday morning, Scotty.
Right.
He said it's fair for the Cowboy fans to blame him for the team's shortcomings. Well, I hope so, because you're not just the owner. You're the general manager, too. Remember that? He's the GM, too. So, yes, he is to blame for some of their shortcomings.
He's the only one that matters. He's the only one that talks.
That's it.
He's the only one that does press conferences. I guess you see Dak a little bit, but it's Jerry's world, and that's why they call it Jerry's world. And the bottom line is they stink. They're no better than the Giants, and they blame him anyway because he's front and center. No one else talks.
5.5 is where we're sitting right now for Thursday Night Football at MetLife. 45.5 is the total. I got to tell you, I think it sounds like you're leaning this way too. I think the Giants at home on a short week. I know the Cowboys, they haven't been able to stop them the last couple of years. I think they might hang around in this game, Scotty. I think the Giants might make this a game on Thursday.
Why are they favored by that much? Explain that to me, the way they've looked.
I think because this comes down to you take the rosters, and Dallas is so much better, and they have the better quarterback, and they crushed them both games last year. I think that, you put all those ingredients in the pot, and that's why they're 5.5-point favorites. But they didn't see Neighbors last year. They got to find a way to stop. They can get a couple stops. That's what will keep them in this game because they couldn't stop them last year.
They are so far removed from being a 12-win team 3 years in a row. They don't look like a 12-win team this year by any stretch. I mean, they're just trying to win a game now at this point. They shouldn't be favored by that much on the road against this team that's suddenly got a hot receiver and a quarterback that's throwing it to them and they're scoring touchdowns.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind L.A., that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
What's the deal, Mike? Does Purdy have a back problem all of a sudden? What's going on out there?
They've got lots of problems out there, right? I feel like every week now they're just stacking more ailments on the pile for the San Francisco 49ers. I knew you were going to say that. What a shame. We already know about some of their skill position players, but now their quarterback, Brock Purdy, day-to-day with back soreness. I'm not sure when he got that because I thought he looked pretty good on Sunday. He sure wasn't the reason why they lost that game to the Rams. But back soreness for Purdy. And to keep this going, defensive tackle Javon Hargrave, one of their better interior defenders, partially torn tricep. He's done for the regular season. And this doesn't sound very good either, department for Christian McCaffrey, he's going to see a specialist in Germany. That's right, Germany. He's going to Europe to see a specialist for his Achilles tendonitis. Now, again, what happened here, Scotty? He got this injury in training camp in early August. Everyone said he was fine. He was going to play the first game. Magically, an hour before the game, he was out, and he didn't play. And now he's flying to Germany to see a specialist for it 3 weeks later. This sounds like a guy who we're not going to see a lot of this year. That's what it sounds like to me.
Originally I thought it was his calf, and now it's like his Achilles, and he's going to Germany to get it fixed. I don't understand. It has to be worse than everybody thought it was originally. I never thought it was this bad, and I can't wait to see what happens. I don't understand who he's going to see. I don't know the whole deal. But it doesn't sound like he's playing football anytime soon with this problem. And you're losing a guy like Hargrave. Now your quarterback's got to tweak back. It's one thing after the next with this team, and injuries will kill any football team. I don't care how good you are. Everyone thinks they're automatic to go, to the Super Bowl every year. And the reality is you can't do it if you have a bunch of guys banged up. You got to stay, relatively healthy to get through the playoffs. Sometimes teams go the furthest just because they have health and they're not all banged up with injuries. They have too many early season injuries for my blood. It's a problem. Their star players are all dropping like flies.
Yep, and they've gotten out to now a 1-2 start after a couple of losses on the road. Now they do go home this week and they have the Patriots coming across country. So we know the deal with the Pats. They won the first week, lost in overtime, and then got smashed by the Jets on Thursday night. They take the long trip to San Francisco. Now, -10, and I'm going to give you some numbers. Big spreads have they've been good for the teams getting. Let's just put it that way, Scotty. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, 39.5 is the total. They, even with all these ailments, can they cover this 10 points against the Patriots on Sunday?
Well, I mean, think of the Rams game, right? They literally were up, by 14 in the fourth quarter, and they lost. So they can't hold a lead. They're not playing well, but then they get the, convenience of playing this team. They're awful. They showed their true side, I thought, on Sunday when they couldn't score. Everyone thought, a lot of people thought that they weren't going to win, that 4.5 total was, under for a lot of sharps. They didn't think they were going to win games at all. And that was the first time we saw them really look awful and not do anything in a game. So I think San Francisco's lucky that they're playing them. This is an easy game for them, and I think they'll still crush this team. I don't think the Patriots are good, and I think the Niners can get past them. They should have got past the Rams, but they blew it. I mean, they just let Stafford come back and steal that game. They had no business winning that game. And I think a lot of it is because of their injuries. They got so many guys banged up, and, the Rams did too. But nobody made excuses. They just, next man up, everybody did their job, and they somehow pulled it off. That was a horrible loss for them. They have to win this game. I think they'll take it out on the Pats.
But one thing, and I agree with you, I think they'll probably take it out on the Pats too. And I think Purdy's going to play. It sounds like this isn't that serious of a thing, but they've had some really good backup quarterback situations the last few years. They had Sam Darnold last year who was able to slide in when Purdy was hurt. They've had Jimmy G. They've had Purdy before he was a starter. Brandon Allen is the backup this year for Brock Purdy. So precisely. A little bit of not exactly the same realm of backup as they've had there, but I think he's going to go. And if he goes, I think they'll cover the number. That's for sure. Next, we played Pierce yesterday, talking about business decisions, the Raiders, all of these things.
Right.
Now, he said yesterday, Scotty, that they were going to evaluate the quarterback position, maybe make a change. All of the insiders and people who seem to know around the league the past 24 hours have said they are going to stick with Gardner Minshew this week for their game against Cleveland. Here's Pierce, though, saying yesterday he does not regret calling out his team whatsoever, and there still is going to be changes made.
AP, after the game, you talked about the Raiders having to make business decisions. And have you made any of those yet?
No, we haven't. Got to give it to the players first.
Obviously, a lot was made of that comment, national media-wise this morning. I guess as you think about it, are you happy that you pointed it out? And
I don't bite my tongue.
Tough guy. All right.
When it comes to making business decisions on the coaching staff's part, is that something where it's lineup changes? Is it potentially guys?
Just whatever helps the Raiders win. And right now, that performance is not going to help any team win, let alone the Raiders.
Yeah, and they're not winning, and you're coaching them. So it sounds like this week he's blaming Minshew. I don't think he's bad. I don't think that's a bad quarterback. I think they have very limited options offensively. They got Adams, right? And then what else do they have? I mean, they lost their star running back. He went to Green Bay. They have Max Crosby. What else do they have? They're so overrated, it's not even funny. All we ever hear about is the Raiders, and they don't have a ton of talent. So who the hell's he going to throw the ball to? Himself? I'm not blaming him for anything. They have an average offense and an average team.
Look, their defense got shredded by Andy Dalton on Sunday. Shredded by Andy Dalton and a team that couldn't score on anyone for like a year and a half, and they got shredded by it. That seems like a bigger problem.
He's a better quarterback than that kid Young.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Tom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA. That being the Dodgers trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
So, Carver High, how stupid would they have to be, the Raiders, to deal Devontae Adams? Seriously. I mean, like, I saw this hypothetical trade, and I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I think that he's one of the guys that the media and other people immediately started to point at when Pierce did the guys made business decisions thing after the game. They showed some shots of him just kind of looking on the bench, looking really out of it, not into the game. But we've talked about this for months. Remember, there was like a 2-month stretch where there was no doubt about it. He was going to the Jets to get hooked up with Rodgers again, his old buddy from Green Bay. Now, I saw this even before you sent it to me, and I thought it was good. Fields needs another target, right? I mean, he's got Pickens already. Why not get Devontae Adams to Pittsburgh for a 2nd and a 5th round pick? Now, I think that it would take maybe a little bit more than that, maybe not, but they were willing to go after Ayuk, right? I'm sure they'd be willing to go after Devontae Adams.
I don't believe this deal for 1 minute that they're doing that deal. I don't think they're that dumb, and I don't think Pittsburgh could pull that off for that price tag. Honestly, how do you get Devontae Adams to Pittsburgh? That's like the Ayuk deal. It was so bad. They talked about it for 2 months. And I don't believe for 1 minute that it was ever going to happen because he was using them as leverage to get his deal in San Francisco and stay with the Niners. And we've been hearing about this guy, Adams, that he's unhappy in Vegas. And I think it's mounting. I think it's getting worse because they don't matter. They're not winning. They're losing. Now the finger pointing has started. Now the coach is getting mad at press conferences and snapping at reporters and everything else, and he's ready to give up on his quarterback after 3 weeks. I mean, I could see why he'd want to leave, but I don't think they're stupid. I mean, literally, he's their only option offensively. You give him the ball. I don't know why they don't throw the ball to him 20 times a game. Same that the Giants do with Neighbors. Throw him the ball. If that's your only star player, give him the rock.
And they actually I think they have 2 guys now. Like, I think that Bowers is also a guy you could throw the ball to him every play.
Fair enough.
But for some reason, like I watched a little bit of that game against Carolina on Sunday. For some reason, they weren't throwing to either of them. Like they weren't throwing to Adams or Bowers. Bowers. Like, you actually got like kind of like a secondary choice now, even after Adams. So you're right, should get as many targets as Neighbors does with the Giants. But like, neither of them having big days?
How
Like,
does that make sense?
It doesn't make
How does that make
sense at all.
that you don't throw to those two studs? And, I mean, Bowers is enormous. He's got great hands. He makes plays, and you don't give him a ball. You don't throw him the ball. And this guy, Adams, is so great. And he's over there doing Taco Bell commercials because he's not getting the rock. That's why he's not happy.
Those are good commercials. Those are good commercials. The Raiders are home for Cleveland this week, as the Browns, of course, are coming off that loss to the Giants. And this is also bad news for the Browns, Scotty. Myles Garrett, now he got an MRI. It came back clean. Remember last week I told you he said both of his feet were bothering him before that Giant game. Now, allegedly, that pain has spread to his lower legs. Like, that doesn't sound very promising at all for Myles Garrett. They are 1.5-point road favorites in Vegas on Sunday. 39,
and they're not winning either.
37.5's the total. So bizarre. The Browns have looked so bad so far this year, and yet here they go. They're road favorites in Vegas on Sunday.
How, like last year, they were good. They were winning every week. They had a great defense, great defensive coordinator. Garrett's a badass. Now he's banged up, and they're not winning, and I don't know why they're favored. I guess because the Raiders stink so bad, but if this guy's injured, it's only going to get worse for them. They need him on the field playing football because if he's not playing, they're not winning. It's that simple. He's the key to their defense.
He really is the key to their defense, that's for sure. All right, we're going to come back, and then I'll play Eberflus when we come back. We always like having a laugh with the Bears head coach, Matt Eberflus. And then I've got a lot more injury news for you. I got suspension news. You know, they gave that Derwin James a game, and I had forgotten about that play. You were obviously at the game with Derwin James where he's wondering why they do that. You can't keep smashing people in the head, and now they're just going to make the penalties more and more for this guy.
I mean, honestly, what are you doing, bro? And it costs your team. They can't afford to lose him. He's a great player, but he's lost his mind, and I think he deserved what he got, to be honest with you.
Yep. One game for him, and the league told him, keep it up. We're going to keep increasing it. 2 games, 4 games. We're going to keep giving you more.
Want to know who to draft and who to avoid in fantasy football? Or want to know who to place NFL season future bets on? Get an insider edge from the former NFL team doctors at Sports Injury Central. The 2024 NFL preseason injury guide is the only in-depth injury report analyzing all 32 teams and over 150 players. So go to sixscore.com to get the most accurate NFL preseason injury report. That's sixscore.com.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Eberflus saying about his Bears, because if I were a Bears fan, I'd be discouraged too.
You should be discouraged. Yes, the Bears are 1-2. You remember that game they won in week 1. The offense wasn't very good, right? They won because of some special teams and defensive touchdowns that they got against the Titans. So not a good start through 3 weeks, but don't worry, Scotty. I mean, Matt Eberflus, he's built up tons of credit with the Chicago faithful, with all the winning he's done over the years. Everybody just don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, I would say that, Mark. I would say that, look, this is our third game, and there was some positivity to take out of this, and we're encouraged. We're encouraged in that locker room. We are encouraged, and we are.
Sure you are.
We have our head moving forward, eyes moving forward, and we're going to get better this week. And to me, there is better production, on the offensive side. There was better production there in terms of who we got the ball to. And the efficiency just needs to be better in certain areas, on offense, on defense, and in kicking game. And it starts with the football.
Really, this guy, honestly, I just don't think he's a good coach. You've said it before. They have, I heard, they wrap talent all around for Caleb Williams. They got all these players now that can make plays. Well, where are all those plays happening? You don't see them. They just don't matter as usual. And at some point, they're going to get sick of Eberflus, and he's going to be out of there. He's got to turn it around, because I feel like he's on a hot seat already. They projected him Coach of the Year, Super Bowl. People were, buying the Bears tickets and buying that hype, and Caleb Williams and all this other stuff. Like we said earlier, Jaden Daniels is better. He's playing better. He is better, and he should have been maybe the number one. Remember, they said that Caleb Williams was, just so amazing. He's going to change the franchise. He's that generational player. He can't be stopped. He's automatic. And meanwhile, the other guy, Daniels, is the one that looks automatic, and he's exciting to watch play. I think Caleb Williams makes too many mistakes. I mean, left and right, every week, you can count on him to make mistakes, and that's why the Bears never win.
Yeah, it's why the Bears never win, but they also never win because they're the Bears, and they just continuously are an awful franchise. They should have never brought this guy back to start this year. They were getting a clean slate. Number 1 overall pick, new quarterback, could have attached a coach. They should have been in the Harbaugh sweepstakes before he went to L.A. They should have did whatever they could to get somebody to stabilize that franchise. Instead, they have this joker who should have been fired after last year. He's done a bad job since he's been there. And now they're going to have to start over again when they fire him after this year, when they go 6-11 or whatever it is, 5-12, whatever they're going to go this year with a rookie quarterback. You could put the pieces around him, Scotty, but as we've seen with too many of these guys, coaching matters, philosophies matter, systems matter, and they don't have one. They just don't.
Listen,
there with that guy. Don't be discouraged.
The team they're playing, the Rams, we saw what they did against the Niners. They can beat the Bears if they just play their game. And let's face facts, Stafford's better than Caleb Williams, 6 ways till Sunday. I mean, he's automatically better from the jump when the game starts. I like the Rams over the Bears. I mean, I guess they got the game at Soldier Field, so they got something going for them. But I don't really like the Bears at all.
Bears are 2.5-point favorites here on a Tuesday. Bears are favored by 2.5.
How is that
with
possible?
a 40.5 total? Like you said, I guess because the game's there, and yes, the Rams are beat up. But you saw last week the difference in these two teams. The Rams are beat up. They got nobody there. But what do they have? They have a great coach and a great quarterback who can take guys off the street and keep them competitive and keep them in a game and sometimes even win them. I would take that coach and quarterback any day of the week over the one that they're going to play this week. I'm with you. It's Rams.
They were winning without their star receivers. They didn't have anything going. They had all, patchwork, backups, no names, and they got it done against the Niners. Now, I know they had a lot of injuries, but that really was incredible, that comeback, to do that with no names and not their star guys. You lose, Kupp and Puka Shells and all the problems they had in their back end and up front in the trenches. To win that game was insane. They're flat out better than the Bears. Now, stranger things have happened, and the Bears could win the game. I don't see it, though. I think Stafford will give them problems.
More news for you here for Baltimore now. Free agent pass rusher Yannick Ngakoue returns to Baltimore. I feel like that guy's been everywhere the last 3 years, but this is his second tour in Baltimore with the Ravens as they need some pass rush help. Harbaugh yesterday also acknowledged that Justin Tucker's been struggling so far. It feels like he's the only kicker in the NFL in structure. What happened to this league, Scotty? It used to be Tucker was the only guy that could make long kicks, and now everyone makes long kicks except Tucker. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I didn't notice that he was having problems. I didn't notice that he had lost it suddenly and was struggling. I don't like the Ravens, so I don't sit around watching them and, getting invested in Tucker's leg. I always thought he was awesome. And so what? This is the first year he's starting to struggle? It is what it is. I mean, sometimes kickers hit a wall or get the yips or whatever it is, and they start missing, and that's that. So you've seen it before. You'll see it again. Guys miss kicks, and he never did. And now all of a sudden he is struggling? That's crazy.
Amazing. I did want to give you the numbers now that I have them. Ravens Sunday night against the Bills, -1.5 and 46.5. So a short number here with the Bills being 3-0 off of an impressive Monday night performance and the Ravens getting their first win of the season. Pretty big total, too. I'll tell you early in the week, I think it's a tough spot for the Bills to go in there on Sunday night. They've gotten 3 wins. They're riding pretty high. But Baltimore, very good team as well. Now, the Bills have played them well since Lamar's been there, but I lean to Baltimore, Scotty, in that game on Sunday night.
Yeah, I feel like I said before that now that they've won, I think they're going to start playing better and rattling off wins. I think that Lamar, found his groove. He started looking great, throwing it, running it, getting their offense going. They look fantastic for the most part against Dallas. You're up, 28-6. They had it all going. So I think they're kind of turning the corner, and I think they're going to be hard to beat in the Charm City. But look, I'm not doubting this Bills team. They're really good. The way they spread it out and get everyone involved, they can win that game. They can win anywhere. They can win in the Bealo. They can win on the road. I think you have to start looking at them, potentially outright to win games like this. I don't think they have a fear in playing the Ravens. The Ravens have, frankly, looked good once. That's it. The Bills have looked good every single game, and they've gotten better every single game. They just keep getting better. Their offense keeps getting in more of a groove. So I think they're going to give Baltimore problems. I think most people will probably bet the Ravens, but maybe the play is Buffalo.
Let me give you a little injury roundup here to close out this segment. Chargers rookie offensive lineman Joe Alt, MCL sprain, so not good news for him, but not obviously long-term. Dolphins quarterback Skylar Thompson considered day-to-day with a chest injury. McDaniel did say today it's possible that Tyler Huntley would start Monday night against the Titans. I'll give Mike a piece of advice, Scotty, now here on Coast to Coast. I would get Tyler Huntley ready to start Monday night anyway, whether Skylar Thompson's hurt or not. I would get Huntley ready to start on Monday night because that dude stinks. So I would put Huntley in when the Titans come to town. Because Huntley could beat the Titans on Monday night. Huntley could win that game for them against Tennessee on Monday night. So I would go with him. So decent. Mike should get himself in order.
He can definitely win games. I think that guy's flat out one of the better backups. What he did in Baltimore, and, we've seen him play, and he can play flat out. So, and you watch this Skylar guy, and he's awful. I don't care what anyone says. And we've never seen Huntley play that badly. When he gets in, he gives it everything, and he goes for it, and he's pretty decent.
He is. Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, fairly significant hamstring injury, will likely land him on the IR. I'll give you the rest and a few numbers off of the week when we come back to finish the NFL.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What is
in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver Hive, what are some of these injuries? The Lions are having some problems all of a sudden.
Lions have a lot of problems. Defensive end Marcus Davenport likely out the rest of the regular season. Torn triceps, not a good scene for him. Their center, Frank Ragnow, who's very big for that line, torn pec. Not season-ending, but he's not going to be around for a while. They play as well Monday night, Scotty, against Seattle. So 2 Monday night games again next week. You'll have the Tennessee-Miami game and the Detroit-Seattle game, which is in Detroit at Ford Field. So another Monday night double dip.
Didn't they, Mike, have Laporta injured as well? Like, didn't he get banged up?
They did. They're calling that an ankle injury that they're week to week, I think is what Campbell said yesterday. So several injuries for the Lions right now as they progress forward. And look, Seattle's 3-0. They've played well so far, heading in there to take on the Lions, who are 2-1. So that should be a good game coming up on Monday. As far as the Vikings go, they're 3-0. Sam Darnold's been excellent, but he does have a little bit of a knee problem. No structural damage, so it looks like he's going to be good to go. They're not worried about it going forward. The Vikings this week, Scotty, they hit the streets, I believe, yes, they are in Green Bay against the Packers. Packers -2.5. We'll see throughout the week if they're going to get Love back for that big game in the NFC North. A better at FanDuel wagered $250 on Sam Darnold to be the MVP at 300-1 back in June. He's now 25-1 as I give you the MVP odds here after 3 weeks of the season. Allen is the favorite, as I told you earlier, at 2-1. Mahomes, Stroud, Hurts, Rodgers, Lamar, Burrow, Purdy. And then, yes, Sam Darnold cracks our top 10 board this week on the MVP race.
Yeah, but you don't really seriously think he's going to be the MVP. So I don't think that bet's hitting. And eventually he comes down to earth. I think people think that, he's having this fantastic year, which he is so far. A few games in and he's looked really good. And then eventually we've seen him, get to be, fair to Midland, where he'll just level off and be average. He's never been great, right? Like, so all of a sudden now he's great and he's going to, win the MVP. That's not happening.
I agree with you. He's not going to win the MVP. And if I usually say no cash outs when they offer you those cash outs, but from 300-1 to 25-1, I would look into it if I was that better and see what they're offering you for the cash out. All right, big dogs here through 3 weeks. You want to talk about barking, Scotty? They have been barking. The largest favorite has lost outright in each of the first 3 weeks of the season. Cincinnati in week 1, they were the biggest favorite against New England. Baltimore in week 2 against the Raiders. And then Cincinnati again last night against Washington. Boom, boom, boom. 2001 was the last time the largest favorite of the week lost outright in 3 straight weeks to begin the year. And, of course, it's also ravaged every knockout and survivor pool coast to coast across the country. Destroyed with all those plays.
It's crazy. You can't lay that much wood in NFL games. It's hard to cover that kind of spread when all of these guys make tons of money and they're playing for big paychecks and food on the table. The bottom line is every team, I think, is, you see people saying, oh, that's easy, that game, that's a piece of cake, cakewalk, automatic, they'll get it done. Nothing is automatic. You have no idea who's going to win, who's going to cover. You see these giant spreads, they're not covering. All these dogs are hitting. You don't know what's going to happen in an NFL game. It's too, even playing field. Both of these teams that are playing every Sunday, no matter what game it is, it's a bunch of pros and they mean business. So I think that's what makes it so hard to bet on it. When it's, 2.5, 3, 3.5, the spreads, you start laying 6.5, 7, 7.5. Good luck. It's going to be a nightmare. I mean, how about later in the season when they start dropping 12s, 13s, 14s, 16-point spreads? I'm not doing that either.
Well, like we said to you before, you've got your first double-digit one of the season this week with the Niners, who are 10 against the Patriots, and there's a couple other 7.5s. The Jets are 7.5 against Denver on Sunday. The other 7.5, 8.5 for the Chiefs on the road at SoFi against the Chargers, who probably aren't going to have Herbert, which is why that's 8.5 here early on in the week. So you got some big spreads this week. Be careful, right? With the way things have gone so far, be careful of those big spreads.
The Jets, in particular, the Broncos, no one saw that coming, that they were going to win big and that Knicks was going to have a game. And now you're telling me that they're getting that much wood against the Jets? You would think that might end up being a better game than that number. I mean, the Jets look really good. It's great and everything. They won their, for Rodgers at home. He finally won a game at Snoopy and all the rest. But let's calm down that they're world beaters. Denver might give them a game. I mean, did Washington give Cincinnati a nightmare last night? They sure did. And they were getting 7.5. So you see these lines and you think, oh, well, the Jets are just so automatic. They're so unbelievable. They're going to the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen either. So that might be too juicy. That spread for that game just stands right out to me right there. There's another game that you're talking about with a big number that I bet doesn't hit.
No doubt. All right, we've got I'll do this side, and then I'll do the worst when we come back. We've had enough weeks now where I can start giving you our weekly best and worst against the spread in the NFL. On the best side, Vikings and Steelers not only 3-0 straight up, but they're 3-0 against the number, ATS. Cardinals, Chargers, Lions, Bears, Eagles, Bills, Broncos, Colts, Saints, Bucks, etc. all 2-1 against the number as well here 3 weeks in.
I mean, I guess so when you see that sheet, you're going to go bet on all those teams, right? And then what'll happen? Then they won't cover. Everything finds a way of leveling off. I don't believe that all these teams are just going to keep covering spreads every single week. It just doesn't work out that way. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And when we come back, I'll show you the other side of the coin, because if there's half the teams on that list, where do you think the other half is? I've got 2 0-3 against the spread teams that I will give you when we come back, and a few more numbers to finish up the NFL.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What?
in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Mike, who's the worst against the spread in the NFL these days?
Yeah, of course, if you have to have the best, you also have to have the worst in there. And that is, how about this? The Texans, despite being 2-1 straight up, they are 0-3 against the spread. They didn't cover the first 2 weeks, those games that they won. The Titans are also 0-3 against the spread. The Dolphins are 0-3 against the spread. Everyone else, they're on your list 1-2. ATS, Ravens, Cowboys, Rams, Giants, 49ers, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, look at those. The Bengals, Ravens, Cowboys, even the Rams. You look at some of these teams, and everyone's darling the Texans, 0-3. Everyone thought they were just, going to glide right back to the playoffs. And Ryan's coach of the year, and they're just automatic a playoff team. They're so incredible because of what Stroud did. And look at that, 0-3 against the spread. They're not covering. And then the Browns were great last year. What's happened to them? Don't tell me it's because Joe left. They're not the same team. It's unbelievable how teams go from one year to the next. And you think that if they were good last year, they're going to be good again. And it's not always the case.
It is not always the case. Over and under so far through 3 weeks. 2 teams, Scotty, have played to the over all 3 weeks. There hasn't been a lot of overs here so far early in the NFL season, but the Ravens and the Cowboys coincidentally played each other here in week 3. Both 3-0 to the over. Unders, there's been plenty of those. Bears, Falcons, Dolphins, Steelers, Vikings, Chargers, Giants, and Lions have all played all 3 of their games to the under so far this year.
Well, I mean, you look at the Steelers, that defense, they give up 10, 6, 10. They're hard to score against, and so you saw how low their total was against the Chargers on Sunday in Pittsburgh, and, I mean, they mean business defensively. The best defenses in the league, they're just not going to give up a lot of points, and certainly Pittsburgh's at the head of the class.
They certainly are. They have been outstanding defensively, and I expect that to continue this week when they go to Indianapolis, where they're 1.5-point favorites on the road. Here's the entire slate. I know I only gave you a couple games today, Scotty, but throughout, of course, the next few, throughout the rest of the week, we'll dive into more of these games. Bengals are in Carolina. Saints are in Atlanta with the Falcons -1.5 at home. We didn't mention the Eagles are in Tampa this week. Eagles -2.5. Washington, off the win last night, is in Arizona against the Cardinals. Cardinals are 3.5-point favorites. Gave you the 2 Monday night games. So there you go. Week 4, Scotty, is here.
I mean, those are great games. Vikings and Packers. It just goes on and on. Saints, Falcons. You get these divisional games Thursday night, Giants, Cowboys. A lot of these games are really good. You love the double dips on Monday. I even think, depending on if Orange Sherbert can play, Kansas City and the Chargers, if that guy's playing, it's going to be a good game. I saw him when he was in that game. He was just slicing the Steelers apart early in that game, 10 for 10. So when he plays, he's really good. I mean, these are really good games this week. Even, I want to see the Steelers go to Indy. I went to the game in Indy when they beat them the last time they were there on a Monday Night Football game. And so they're going back to Lucas Oil. Let's see if they can win on the road and go to 4-0.
Let's see if they can. Should be a lot of fun. And finally, from the NFL, Falcons and Chiefs averaged 24.8 million viewers Sunday night. That is up 20% from last season. Most watched Week 3 Sunday Night Football game ever. So people continue to tune in to all of these primetime games, Scotty. Nobody is going away. And Sunday night gets probably their best game yet so far, having the Bills and the Ravens coming up this week in Baltimore. So some good primetime games.
As long as the Chiefs are on TV, they get huge ratings. Yeah. And that's what the networks want. So you put them on, big things happen. Then they start showing Taylor Swift. What's interesting, though, is her boyfriend's not doing anything. He's having a bad year. He's not producing at all anymore, and he's hit a wall. So they get huge ratings. He's not doing anything. I hope they meet their demise this year and they don't go back to the Super Bowl.
I hope they meet their demise this year, and I hope it's my team that sends them to their demise. That would really be the greatest thing ever if we could finally get over the hump and send them home for once. Why not, indeed? All right, we'll come back. We got a lot to do in the last hour. I got to go through all the baseball with you. Big matchups tonight with playoff implications. The Tigers have already won this afternoon against the Rays. So they already got a leg up on the Royals and the Twins going into tonight. We'll give you all the baseball next.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League. Said they're 2 games behind LA. That being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.